Hello and welcome back to the channel where we are building a video game from scratch using Love2d and Lua. Let's take a look at what we're working on today. We are doing our Aqueous spellcasting. So yesterday we got our Aqueous spell to count a timer for any time the white focus indicators in that successful cast range. And it builds up to 1 second and then it casts. This is a great start. We need to do a couple more things, like just because, you know, we need to basically check that we are in. Once we hit 1 second, right? Once we hit that Aqueous timer of 1, we need to cast the sound, right? And right now, anytime we're at 1, it's casting that sound. But in reality, we need to kind of space it out for when we get the real water spell in there. We need to make sure that it's not going to cast more than once, basically. So right now it's just kind of looping the sound anytime it's past 1 and the sound has already ended. But today we're going to be adding essentially a direction for the cast to go. There's a couple of things that this involves, right? We're going to first kind of detect what's the adjacent square that is in front of our character. So if we're facing left, it's going to be 1 square left. If it's up, 1 square up. And then we need to figure out what we want to do for the animation. Are we going to do a sprite animation? Are we going to do a particle system? Are we going to do something different? On top of that, there's becomes more stuff, like, for example, there's a wall here, a collidable map object, we call them, where you can't walk through it. So if you cast a spell through, you know, if we're facing right, the next adjacent square is into a collidable wall. When we cast a spell, it shouldn't necessarily lob the water spell into a collidable map object. So we have to kind of think about what behavior we want. So like maybe if there is a collidable map object in the tile directly adjacent from wherever you're facing, then maybe the water just lands at your feet and doesn't do anything. That's one thing, for example. So we get to decide how we render the lob, right? And then how we handle cases where a collidable thing is right in front of us. So let's start with getting essentially the adjacent square that we're looking at. So we have to kind of find that. So for right now, we can add this to we can add it to, for right now, we can just add it to the play state, and we can get the logic for it, and then we can add it to the player class maybe, and then render it so that we can see and then test, and we can set up a cheater toggle to test lobbing the spell and making sure that I don't know what you want to call it, like the preview of where the spell's going to go is correct. We want to just make sure that that's kind of there. Okay, so let's start with, let's probably just do it in our player class. We'll render a square. We have to detect what the current, you know what, this is kind of tough, because we kind of have to decide if we want to kind of limit the tile detection based on the player's current tile, or a tile away from the player's current location. So this is kind of something we have to decide how to do. Part of me thinks it should go to tile, but nah, it ain't gonna do that. We're gonna do just one tile away from us. So let's start that out. I guess the first step would be to go to our player class, right? And we've got our player class right here. And we're gonna just render. We're gonna start by rendering our player, and then we're gonna render basically a rectangle. Yeah, we'll start with a rectangle. So love.graphics draw. No, love.graphics rectangle. And then we give it a option of fill. We're gonna put, for right now, see, we do have, let's just put it at our players X and players Y, and then a width and height of both tile size and tile size. Okay, let's we have to set the color too. So love.graphics, set our color to, I believe we have a red. There should be a red square right on top of us. Perfect. So we're seeing that square. Okay, so instead of that square being right in front of us, we want it to be at a different location depending on which direction we're facing. We could do this based on the player's direction and just kind of offset it in the appropriate direction. But I'm trying to think, it's almost like we need a aqueous hurt box or aqueous hitbox object so that we can modify its position in space, because we don't want to just, we're not doing anything if we just like modify the X and Y in the rectangle draw here. We're not really doing anything useful in our game other than just previewing what we want it to look like, but we want to be able to do stuff like detect a hit collision with an enemy. So maybe the move is we make, well, I really don't know. Maybe I'm kind of thinking we do make a class of an aqueous spell, because I guess ideally there's so many ways to go about it, right? We could just attach a couple of fields to the player and make the fields relevant to whatever direction we're facing. Like it's an aqueous hitbox field on our player class, and it changes its X and its Y. So instead of saying self.x right here plus whatever offset for whatever direction, we kind of just say in our player class, whatever direction we're facing, we're going to modify the aqueous hitbox X and Y based on the direction. Then our player has access to this aqueous hitbox basically at any time we want, which is one of those things, like we don't need to be calculating an aqueous hitbox in front of us if we don't even have aqueous equipped. I don't know what that means. If we, we can limit I don't know. I don't know what we want to do, because I'm kind of thinking that we do want a class. That way we can say, okay, well, don't even worry about what the heck the Aquis is going to do unless Aquis is attached and our Aquis timer has reached capacity. Then go ahead and instantiate a little Aquis object that takes in the current player's position as well as direction, so it knows how to calculate where it's going to land, and then go ahead, do the update for the sprite, do the update for the render. That's kind of what I'm thinking is the way to go about it. So maybe we'll start there with a class and see how that goes. Let's go add ourselves a new class, and we have to define it and create it. So I might want to just do a little thing like this where we go and make a new object, a new file, right? We want to go into our source, and this is where our classes have been going, and we want to say we're going to make a new file called Aquis hit or Aquis cast projectile, Aquis projectile dot Lua. Okay, and then we do a thing like Aquis projectile gets, and then it inherits this class like this, I believe. Then we can define a couple functions for it, like init, as well as we need our render, and then we need our update with delta time passed in. Okay, so this is like the boilerplate basically, but we need to import this into our project so we can use Aquis projectile. So we will go ahead and do that right now. I will harpoon it, so we have access to the projectile right here, which is great. And then, yeah, we need to go, where is it in the dependencies? I think it's in the dependencies. Okay, yeah, we do have a bunch of classes imported here. So we want to import the Aquis projectile we just made. So Aquis projectile. Okay. Let's see if our game loads, not crashing. Good to know. We're not doing anything different other than just importing that new class. But now that we have that, we can go ahead and probably start to import it. So instead of doing, we can, might as well just take this out. In our player, actually I don't know where this is. It's probably wherever we're playing the sound. Wherever we're playing the sound for the Aquis spellcast, which I don't know where it is. We need the Aquis sound. I don't remember what we called it. Aquis cast, maybe? Oh, we have Aquis sound right here. Okay, so it looks like in our player class, we do have a check for if the A button's held and our Aquis is equipped. So right here, it's for right now, we could just say, for right now, let's just say that we want to import, how do we do this? Because we basically need to initialize a new object anytime we hit a certain threshold. Only one at a time though. So we could have an aqueous projectiles table on our player, and if at this point, see, it's hard because we don't want to make a bunch of them. Right now, we can just put one instantiation in a field on the player, and we will update it and get the logic kind of testing, and then we can worry about actually instantiating one and only one under certain scenarios. So let's just worry about getting one aqueous here. And what we'll do is say that we have a self dot aqueous projectile, and we're gonna get an instantiation of the aqueous projectile, and we do it like this, right, with open brackets. No, like this, like a function call, because we gotta run the constructor, whatever it's called. Okay, aqueous projectile is gonna get this aqueous projectile. So right now, let us open up our aqueous projectile, which is where? Oh, I could have sworn we saved it, man. Could have sworn we saved it. Okay, so we got an aqueous projectile.lua. What are you talking about, dude? What? Why does it say it's locked, man? Really, why does it say? We have one tmux session. Okay, let's try it again. Aqueous projectile. Okay. And let's just say we're gonna say a love.graphics rectangle. Gonna say fill and put it at our player's X and our player's Y with a width and a height of tile size and tile size. Okay, let's set the color and we'll put it red for now. Actually, let's put it green because we were testing red before, so let's make it green. We'll put it at our player, but right now we're not actually rendering this projectile. So let's say, okay, well, in our player class, if we're rendering our player, why don't we go ahead and render entity.aqueous projectile render. So let's go ahead and render that projectile, which right now is just a square at our own location, and it should be green. Doesn't like it. The field of aqueous projectile is not right, and we need to open up our player class and make sure. Oh, it should be self. Okay, we got our green. That is great. So now let's worry about changing this aqueous projectile based on the direction we're facing, essentially. So instead of rendering it at the player X, we need to do another thing, which is calculate an offset based on the direction of the player. So we have direction already. So we need to say like plus whatever self dot X offset, and then Y is going to be plus our Y offset. Okay, and then in the update, we're gonna say, you know what? Well, actually, let's say that our first order is that we have these variables, right? We define them as, we initialize them as nothing so that we can reference them and draw them. So we're gonna say, just for example, if g.player direction is equal to facing down, then let us let's take that y offset and just make it tile size, right? So 16 pixels greater if we're facing down, which in Love2d higher numbers go lower. So you know. Yeah, you know. So let's put an else here and say else, and we'll say else, and we'll say else. Dude, what kills me, okay, what's killing me is my enter is autocomplete when I really don't want enter to be autocomplete. I want it to be new line. I'll fix that. Okay, otherwise our y offset is just going to be back to 0. So only y offset's going to be 16 if we're facing down. If we're not facing down, it's going to be 0. So what I'm hoping is the green follows us. Unless we're facing down, then it's kind of offset. So let's see it. Nope. We are not updating our aqueous projectile, so we need to do that probably here in the I guess in the player class, because that's where our instantiated projectile is. So we will also say go ahead, update delta time right here for that aqueous projectile, so we can actually get that new direction. And look at that, it looks like it's working. So this is like the bare bones of what it's going to start looking like. And let's just do our other directions while we're at it. So we will come in here and say, okay, well, if our player's direction's down, we do this. I do think, well, I do kind of think we have to, because we have to reset the offset to 0 if the direction is, you know, a different direction than, I don't know how to say it. Let's do it kind of lame like this, where, well, no, we can do this like this. Yeah, we do a compound here, else if, and then we can say, well, if our direction is up, then, and then we give the offset, right? So if it's up, the y offset needs to be a negative tile size to shift it above us. And then our x offset needs to be reset back to 0 in case we are coming from a facing right sort of deal. So if, okay, if our direction is left equal to the string left, then what we want is a y offset of a negative tile size and an x offset, well, no, x offset y, negative tile size, and the y is going to be reset to 0. And then our last condition, which is if the direction is equal to right, that we would, oopsie, yeah, then we would say our X offset is going to be a positive tile size. And we're going to reset our Y offset back to 0. Okay, let's look at our green square. Let's look at our green square. Oh yeah, buddy. Oh yeah, buddy. Okay. Now, I'm kind of thinking, oh, look at, you can see, wow, you can see the top level tiles here. Okay. So let's put on Aquis and just see. I wonder if we can figure out some circular collision, because that would be cool. So I am curious about that. It's looking right. It's looking good. I do want to see. We might have to look at the. I think it takes a radius, or it takes. Yeah, it takes a radius maybe. I don't know. We gotta figure this out. We gotta do this. Uh-oh. Okay, let's do this. Love2d circle. It's a mode, an X and a Y and a radius. Okay, so mode is what? Fill? Okay, so let's say mode is fill. And then let's turn off our rectangle for now. It's gonna take an X and a Y. So let's say it is the same X position plus our offset. And then Y plus our Y offset. And then it needs a radius. So let's say radius of tile size, which will be bigger than, you know, be like, it'll be a huge circle, but let's just see it. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, okay. Yeah, totally off. Totally off. And it's because the radius, like the way it draws it is what, in front of us? Or because it's as if it's drawing. No, I don't know why it's so off. Because this is the offset for a square, or for a square, not an offset for a circle. Segments used. Okay, I got an idea. So the idea is if we're facing down, our Y offset needs to be, you know, it's a relation of what? The radius. Actually, yeah, let's ignore the offsets real quick and just see where the circle ends up. And we'll half this size just so it's not so huge. Okay, so this is where it drew it. So it looks like the center of the circle is at the top left of our character. So I guess the idea is we would want to put, we want to shift it so it's in our player's face, right? Like right smack dab center. So we need to offset this by half of the tile size. So we will I just put 8, right? Like, don't like a magic number. I don't like a magic number, so we will divide by 2, and we will put parentheses here, and then our y will also be shifted by a tile size divided by 2, and our radius happens to also be that too. But this should get us circle in the center of our dude. Oh no. Nice. Nice. Okay. Now we can do the offset, and then we should have the proper circle. Then we can worry about collision detection for a circle, which I've never done before. But we have the offset, so we should just add the offset. Self x offset, and then y is gonna be, why don't we add our y offset? Cool. This should be it, I'm thinking. Oh yeah, buddy. Okay, cool. I think it's too close, you know, because if you're thinking about the animation, you want to chuck this sucker, you know, you don't want to just drop a spell in front of you. You want to freaking lob that thing. So let's try to do a doubling. Yeah, let's try to do a doubling of the offsets so that it's twice as far as what it's been. Wow. Wow. I actually kind of love it. Kind of love it. Yeah, I kind of love it because it's going to be tough to do it. Yeah, it's going to be tough to do it because this square is not visible to the player. This is just where the spell's going to end up once you chuck it. But we need to do, oh my gosh, dude. I'm just trying to think of like how we get over the collidable map problem, right? Because if we're facing the wall, like up here, and we throw a spell, it shouldn't land up there because it's as if it's going like straight up. We need to like make it splash on the wall or splash on the floor so that it can't be thrown over. But then, you know, what do we do for a thing that's a one tile like this? Because you technically could lob it over a 1 tile square if the landing position is non-collidable objects. But I think if there's a thing in front of you, I think it should just kind of splash at your feet. So we can work on modifying our class to account for that. And then also, once we put the spell on and cast it, yeah, we need to start animating and whatnot. So, oh my gosh, it is so late. I'm supposed to be in bed by 10 to stay on my sleep schedule. Okay, it's okay though. I got my Stream Deck worked out. It took me like 4 hours to get my Stream Deck reconfigured for Linux, but it's finally there, and I've got the buttons for switching and for chatbots, which was cool, worth the effort. So for right now, let's do a check on our get diff here. And what did we do today? We added an aqueous projectile class. And we are we've got to add this projectile, so we will add it. Add our projectile, and then get diff. What, it doesn't show it? I guess get diff doesn't show contents of new file. I wonder if there's a way to do that. Let's check actually our lazy get here. Oh, this is nice. Yeah, this is what I'm looking for. So yeah, this, oh gosh, what am I doing? Okay, I don't know what I did. Oh no. What is the A? What did I do? Unstage change. what is happening? Oh, I'm terrified. I just screwed everything up. Oh no, dude. Hold on. Aqueous projectile. It looks right. But where is our freaking render? Where's our render? What, we don't have aqueous render? Dude. Did we just screw it up? We must have just screwed it up. No? The render's in there. Okay. Dude, what is the A? What is the A? Added? Oh, it must be added. Okay. Okay, so what we did was... Dude, oh, I can't do it. I can't do it. Oh no, oh no. Why? 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 How do I do it? Okay, it's added. But I wanna look at the freaking... What? Oh, 0? Oh, 0, 0. Okay, so stage change. Okay, we added aqueous projectile class. It's all this stuff. It's a render, it's an update, it's an init. Pretty simple stuff. And then we've got, in the player class, we instantiate the aqueous object. And then we go to dependencies and require it. So very simple. We just made an aqueous projectile, and then we're just instantiating it in our player, updating it in our player class, rendering it in our player class. So let's go ahead and commit with a message saying added or add aqueous projectile class with bare bones preview or render. What do we want to call it? Bare bones render. Okay. We committed it. Let's push it. We pushed it. Great. Okay. That will be it for tonight, but we will run credits, and actually I don't have my credits turned on. We will get that fixed for tomorrow, and I'll get my other shortcuts fixed. We got some stuff to hash out with the NeoVim config, but it's looking good. I'm happy with the stream. I just hope my internet gets better. No crashes today, which is very good. But we will look for someone to raid out to, and we will call it a night. Let's see who's up. Let's see, we've got Chitspo and Jed. You know what? We'll go raid Imaginary Villain. He's making a cool looking game. Very cool stuff. Thanks for watching, y'all. I'll be back tomorrow, and we will get working on more logic for the spellcast so that we can get those proper collisions, and then we can work on the animations, and we can work on the collisions, get it to work, and then we'll have the second spell in our game. So I'll be excited to keep making progress on that, and I'll catch you later.